kicking it off here on a Friday. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Man, it has been a tournament, to say the least. And, man, I know, Barry, you've been checking it out. Got baseball on your mind as well.
Yep.
It is hopping in the month of March.
It is. My gosh, I can't ever remember being as busy as I am right now. I'm on the road again, beginning a 3-game baseball series at Louisiana. I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana right now. It's about the 7th different place that I've been to in the last 3 weeks or so.
Sure.
But, yeah, we've got a lot going on. Have had a chance to watch a little basketball. We got in here relatively early yesterday. Watched a terrific game between Ole Miss and Arkansas. Texas and Texas A&M was nuts. Missouri, I think they win by 6 over Mississippi State.
Oh,
but
yeah, more on that later.
It wasn't all that close. And then Kentucky had a late one against Oklahoma. We're able to win that, and Kentucky makes it to the quarterfinals where they'll take on Alabama. Auburn's got Ole Miss in about 5 hours from where we're talking on our live show. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell me about that Kentucky game, Barry, because I didn't see the end of that one. I mean, I was basketballed out by the time we got to that one. More on Mississippi State, Missouri later in the show. We'll get to that a little bit later in the program. But, man, we do a lot going on today. And, Barry, today just seems to feel like, not to discount what happened prior to today, but I hence to use the term big boy or teams that people really want to watch. I don't know how I should describe it, but after 2 days of the SEC tournament, we kind of let these other people play. Now the cream of the crop's hitting the floor today, and I'm just thinking today's action's really going to be good.
It is going to be good. I'll grant you that. But to discount the other action is, there were some good games. I mean, there were teams in the first 2 games. Heck, there were teams in the first day that would be not a stretch of the imagination to think could already be could be semifinal teams in the ACC, or could be, semifinal teams in the Big 12. It's just they play in an absolutely loaded league. All apologies to my great and good friend C.J. Duncan, who I like very much, but I was right about Texas Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt loses on day 1. Texas may be the team of destiny. They've gotten 2 wins in the tournament. That really, really helps them in terms of getting into the NCAAs. Some of the other ones that might have needed some help didn't get it. But it's been great so far. It's been really good.
And Barry, I got to admit, I've actually watched some other conference tournament action. A little ACC, a little Big 12.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I hadn't watched any schools up north in the Northeast quarter yet. Haven't checked them out.
For a moment, I thought John was saying, Barry, that first round game in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference was fire.
No.
My gosh, Barry, did you see that semifinal in the Horizon League? No. I knew it wasn't going to
go that far. We're not going to go that far. And Barry, you know my definition of watching games.
Yeah.
I mean, now, this constitutes more than seeing a clip on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
I actually tuned it in, watched the broadcast, whether it was CBS Sports Network or ESPNU.
Right.
I did watch a little bit of it. So, yes.
This constitutes the same level of attention as John has when he's refereeing high school volleyball. Man, look at that. Yeah, that was in. Yeah, and I kind of think, hey, man, honey, popcorn. Me. Yeah. Yeah. That was out. Yeah.
I'm getting hungry over here. Let's go.
Yeah.
But it has been great.
I'll take it from you. I'll take it that John watches a little bit of it, because John is, if somebody that he's with, little cocktail party, little dinner party, if somebody says, oh man, John's like, what? That's how he knows to watch. It isn't like he said, oh man, this is going to be an interesting possession, because the last 2 possessions they didn't even get a shot off. They were empty possessions. He ain't like that. Believe
no,
me.
see, I'm the other way. It's like,
yeah.
Do they have enough time to cover this game? Is there enough time on the clock? Are there enough possessions that they can get?
Right.
Do they just have to hit threes to cover? That's how I'm strategizing it. I'm trying to figure out how they can somehow cover or lose the cover. Some teams get way too conservative and dilly-dally around and try to get cute. And like Texas, like A&M last night. I mean, they ended up winning the game, but they attempted some inbound pass where the guy's standing out of bounds, just throws it toward the goal, thinking one of his players is going to alley-oop it in on an inbounds play, blows up in their face. Texas starts taking the lead.
Yeah.
You kind of go, trouble.
Yeah, well, exactly. Whether you're interested in covering the spread or not, and believe me, for John, if they're not going to cover for him, then he's thinking, man, how bad can they lose this game? Because, I want like a 10-0 run in the final minute if they're not going to cover for me.
Nothing, just to give you a little hint, nothing against our friend Bart Heisch, but I was hoping Missouri won that game by 40 last night, the way that thing was playing out toward the end.
Yeah.
More on that later.
Yeah, Ole Miss wins against Arkansas. Kid had made he was like 0 for 9 or something in 3 points. Padula for Ole Miss, 0 for 9 3 points, including some wide open shots. Wasn't shooting it well. At the very end, the kid for Arkansas clanks the 2 free throws he really needed to get for the win. Padula in traffic, clock winding down, people flying all over the place. He hits the 3 at the horn and they win it. So, this is what it is. Today, full slate. Now, y'all don't be kidding around just because we're not on the show tomorrow. Don't be slacking because we can't check up on you. But you need to watch. If you're at work, Kylie, I don't know what to do. I mean, John's better at knowing, the ins and outs of sneaking a peek at your computer screen or sneaking a peek at the TV. And then when the boss comes by, flipping the screen over to, widgets and data input and stuff like that. But, watch it if you can. Auburn at noon today in the quarterfinals in the first game. The number 1 seed finally playing against Ole Miss.
Barry, I heard that Marshall Henderson is at the tournament.
You heard that they were showing him. They were showing him. He was going nuts over there in the good seats. He was doing the thing with his shirt that he was famous for, almost getting that old Auburn guy to come down and take him on. But he'll be there. They'll have plenty of shots of him. Auburn is the number 1 seed. They haven't played in whatever it is, 6 days.
Yeah.
Will there be a little bit of factor of them kind of getting their feet wet, of them kind of getting the whole thing kind of going, or will they be ready to play? Will they be healthy? Because if they go 1 and out.
And Barry, I said this yesterday, talking with Bart. I'm not buying into this stuff about, they're just going to roll on in there. And, if they lose, so what? Big deal. They're going to the NCAA tournament as a 1 or 2 seed and talking about Alabama and Auburn,
Right.
So what? Big deal. I'm not buying that. If you put your pants on in the morning and you eat your oatmeal and you get your day started and you're getting on a plane to fly to Nashville, shouldn't you go up there to win it? I mean, they are giving a trophy away on Sunday. Somebody's taking a trophy home. And this going through the motions business about, why do they want to, exude all that energy when they need to save it up for the NCAAs? Well, look, in Alabama and Auburn's cases, you're going to play 3 games to win the title. Then you're going to go back home and figure out where you're going for your NCAA tournament game, which won't be played for 4 days at the earliest. 4 days later.
Right.
At the earliest. I don't get this. Now, I will say this. I think Florida's a little sneaky. I think you better watch out for Florida, and Alabama will face Florida. If they both win today, it's the Tide and the Gators tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, I believe. But
2:30, yes.
Yeah, so I'm just not buying this. I've heard a lot of fans talking about it, both Auburn and Alabama. Well, I'm not that really. No, if you're going, you want to win it.
It was a great article, I thought. I was reading it on the bus ride down yesterday. I want to say it was AL.com, not sure, about Nate Oates.
Yeah.
And one of his assistant coaches, Coach Pannone, was talking about him, saying, he ain't coming down just to play in this thing. He's so freakishly hyper-competitive. He's the guy, he said, we once had a practice drill, and it was, It's like his first or second year. He hadn't been there the whole time. But he said, hey, Coach, how about for this drill? We just don't have a winner or loser. Let's just grade the drill. And he said, you ever have somebody look at you like he absolutely does not understand what you just said? Wait a minute. No winners, no losers? He says if he's doing anything, he's up to win it. He's up to win it. That reminds me of the look that I got from John. And when he's talking about, man, I got I'm going golfing with my buddies this weekend he had some trip somewhere. Wasn't playing at the local course. He got some trips. And I'm going with my buddies. I said, do you ever go just to play? Without putting something on it? John looked at me as though all of a sudden I started speaking hieroglyphics. He says, wait. Play golf without any cash on it? What
people actually do that?
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like, how does that happen? Well, it is
do
money
not
time.
Shamelessly waste my time.
It's my time.
If we're just going to go out there for 4 hours.
Again, today at noon, Ole Miss against Auburn. At 2:30, Tennessee is in action for the first time against Texas. Those two early games are on ESPN, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
Then the evening session beginning at 6. That's going to be on the SEC network. Missouri versus Florida. I agree with you about Florida. They are, what are they, John? They're like 27-4.
Yes.
And people aren't paying much of attention to them. They've beaten Auburn by double digits. They've beaten Alabama by double digits. They take on Missouri, 6:30, SEC network. And then Alabama, the 8:30 game against Kentucky.
I might have to take a nap today, a couple of Red Bulls. I mean, to be able to stay up for that game, because Barry, what's going to happen. You can just go ahead and book it. That Missouri-Florida game will go into about 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
And this game won't tip till about 9:15 tonight. Hopefully that won't be the case, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me if it was the case. But yes, a lot of action today. We're very excited about that. We're going to be looking at it. Recapping yesterday, looking ahead to today and tomorrow.
Well,
a lot going on. And Barry, I don't know if you've seen it or not. And I don't know if Gern can put it up on the screen, but we have a QR code for the bracket. So you can get some information on that. Yeah, there it is.
Can we make it any easier for you?
Yeah. How about that? So, yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it that way. I'm getting mine done then. Yes.
Yeah. Scan it. Get ready to go because Monday, the bracket contest, the bracket challenge, I see they call it, will be up and running. You can scan that or you can go to yellowhammernews.com with all the information. There will be a tab on the homepage for you to check out, but that will get started bright and early Monday morning. Our friends at the Montgomery Regional Airport, Phoenix Physical Therapy, River Region Straw, and Destin Connection Seafood Market, bringing you the tournament bracket challenge. It begins Monday, March the 17th, and it runs through Thursday, March the 20th. Yep. And by the first game that tips on the 20th, when it tips, the contest is closed. Thanks, Gern. Appreciate that. We'll put that back up again throughout the morning today.
Again, today, watch the Auburn game. Starts at noon. Might want to take the Longshore approach. Take a little nap before Alabama plays Kentucky tonight at 8:30. But, John, do not sleep on the deals at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Prattville.
Barry, it's markdown madness. I'm going to tell you, I think it's truck month here at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Listen to this. $21,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on 2025 Ram Laramie pickups. That's right. We're at Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer, where you can get a Ram truck for over $21,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months, or you can get it at $17,000 off and 3.9% for 72 months. It is your choice. There are so many Ram trucks for you to check out here on the lot. Now is the time to do it. Also, Barry, if you need a heavy-duty Ram truck, $2,500 or $3,500, they are $14,000 off. And let's don't forget about the Jeep lineup. You can lease a Jeep Compass at $299 a month, a Jeep Wrangler Sierra at $17,000 off sticker, and $17,000 off a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm telling you, the lot is loaded. I had to jump the curb to get into the dealership today, Barry. They got so many vehicles everywhere. I couldn't get into the store because there were trucks everywhere.
John's had experience in jumping curbs, but you will have easy access when they open it up. You're going to have easy access. The deals are going to be great. You need to go by and visit where John is right now at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. How big are these tournaments? Well, you get kind of a insight into how important the ACC tournament is from the Duke Blue Devils. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Also, some special guests, John, coming up, including our buddy Ralph Michaels from Wager Talking the Gold Sheet. Coming up in our second hour.
Yeah, at the bottom of the second hour, Ralph Michaels, Wager Talking the Gold Sheet. We're going to talk about some of these tournament conference games that are being played around the country. And Barry, at the top of the next hour, everybody knows this guy. He was part of the
Rick and Bubba.
Bill Bubba Bussey is going to join us today. He has a podcast called Bubba on the Lake. And, of course, he's going to join us here on the program to talk a little bit about that. Looking forward to talking to a radio legend. You know, Barry, there are other radio legends out there besides you and me.
Two or three, maybe four.
That's right.
Yeah. So John is live at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. I'm in a hotel room in Lafayette, Louisiana for Troy baseball tonight, starting at 6 o'clock. We're underway in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar, full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Glad you're with us here, everybody. About 18 minutes past the hour here on a Friday. Let me make myself perfectly clear because somebody just texted me. You heard me right.
Right.
$21,000 off. $21,000 or 1.9% APR for 72 months on 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie pickups at Alabama's largest volume Ram dealer in Alabama and Northwest Florida. You heard me right. Or if you prefer $17,000 off and 3.9% APR for 72 months, it's your choice. But you heard me right here at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. How about our man John Colquitt, Barry, from paper brackets to QR codes?
Yep. Remember the days when John and I first got started doing this way back in the day on the radio show. You used to just get your brackets in, drop them by the radio station. You can mail them in. You can fax them in. Just whatever you find. People used to clip them out of the paper. People used to. This is before really the internet really got going. They used to. We used to have guys that would draw up their own on a sheet of paper with their own little brackets, longhand and everything, and you'd say, "What does that say? What does that say?" UNC or UNLV, that kind of a thing. Now all you got to do is point your phone at it and go.
And Barry, trying to grade those brackets because you couldn't really read some people's writing. It wasn't very legible. But we had to go through all that. But it was a labor of love. It's no big deal. Yeah. But we got that going for you.
They got Kentucky beating Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky's not even in the tournament. Does he mean Northern? What is that? Oh, wait, he's got Cincinnati over Lafayette. Lafayette's not even playing. What is he thinking of? That kind of a stuff all the time. All you got to do now, foolproof. Just go to the website, yellowhammernews.com, check out the QR code, and you are in. How important is it? We get Bill from Baltimore who says Auburn needs a win today, if for no other reason, and not to go into the big one losing 3 in a row. Need a mental boost. Yeah, that's going to be big against Ole Miss, who's already played, who's already, gotten sharp. They've played competitively on those goals, on that floor and stuff like that. It's not going to be easy. But, yeah, just to get that, he's not hoping. Man, Auburn needs to win this tournament. Well, Auburn needs to win the tournament. Alabama needs to win the tournament because they're in the tournament. They're competing. And I've always thought that you cannot turn on or off that competitive drive just like a water faucet. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Duke, the consensus number 2 team in the country, who's beaten Auburn before,
their freshmen. Who they're playing tonight?
Ooh, I don't know.
North Carolina?
North Carolina. I hadn't looked, but they played yesterday in the ACC tournament, and their phenomenal freshman, second best player in the country, Cooper Flagg, who will be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Turns his ankle. The ankle turn heard round the world. It's just a sprain, they say. That's all that it is. They play North Carolina tonight at 6 on ESPN in the ACC tourney. And they asked the coach, John Shire, they said, will he be able to return? And Shire says it's an extreme long shot. It's just not worth it.
Oh.
So, if they do make the tournament championship and they've got a chance, I don't know, Clemson, let's say. They have a chance to win it. Cooper Flagg, prize freshman, saying, let me play, coach. Coach says, no, not going to do it. For a chance to win the title, he says it's not worth it. We need him to be healthy for the NCAA tournament. That's what's at stake. That's what they're doing.
And I get that. I do. I mean, they're getting on a tangent about, winning the conference title. And my thing is, and I don't believe a team would actually do this. I don't think their mindset would be, we're going up here. I hope we lose the first game so we get home.
Get out of it.
I don't think that's the mindset. But in this case, this one individual player, I don't think his teammates feel that way. I got to think, heck, if I'm strapping it on and hitting the floor, I want to win. But I get it. With that guy, you need him in about a week. You better, you need that guy to get healthy.
There are others like that out there. Just to give you an idea for some teams, just how much the tournament does or does not mean. The X-rays were negative. He's not going to play for the rest of the ACC tournament. The Duke-North Carolina game, ESPN tonight, 6 o'clock. All of a sudden, the best player isn't going to play, and ESPN's like, oh. Can we get Shire on the phone and ask him if they can, what the athletic trainers called, aggressively treat his injury,
Barry,
which means a cortisone shot or something like that? Can we get him to consider wrapping it up real tight and getting him out there even for just like 10 minutes? Can we do that? Because he's the attraction in that game.
Yeah, they're getting North Carolina and Duke playing again.
Yep.
Played last week. I got to say, somebody brought this to my attention. I just hadn't really been paying attention to it. Who's doing the ACC broadcast? Because you got all the old-time ACC folks like Jay Billis, Dickie V, all these people in Nashville doing the SEC games.
I'll look that up. That's a good point. I did notice that. But we shall see. Yeah.
And I like Jay Billis. I just thought, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Also, Chris the Bammer says that I rudely interrupted you when you were about to tell everybody who Alabama's playing today. Chris, do you not know? I mean, did you not stay up to see who Alabama's opponent's going to be today? Come on.
No, did not. They play Kentucky tonight. Just supposing. I always am gun shy in bringing this up because it'll be much more well covered possibly later on. But Auburn is an 11.5-point favorite, what I'm looking at, somewhere around there against Ole Miss. Alabama is a 6.5-point favorite against Kentucky. Now, how would you feel if Auburn would have dropped their first and only game, number 1 seed, quickly out? How would you feel if Alabama, after playing so well and getting the big win over Auburn, how would you feel about
well, let me make
Alabama
sure I
losing by
remembered
5,
this.
8, 7?
Yeah, let me see if I remembered this correctly. Maybe we talked about it. Maybe I asked Bart about it yesterday. Ole Miss doesn't match up real well with Auburn. I believe that Arkansas would have matched up better. So, I think from a matchup standpoint, that's going to be difficult for Ole Miss. For Alabama, they've already played Kentucky twice.
Yeah.
You know, the old adage, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. I don't know. Until I get Robbie from Greenville's take on tonight's games, Barry, which should be in about an hour.
Oh, no.
I don't want to make a decision until I hear what Robbie's got on the docket about this game.
I don't like Kentucky's matchup against Alabama. I don't think Kentucky matches up well against Alabama because the Tide is so relentless on offense in a general sense. I mean, there are individual matchups. You can get deep into the X's and O's. But in a general sense, Alabama is so up-tempo and so obsessively aggressive on offense. That'll break Kentucky. Kentucky does not care anything at all about the concept of defending the basketball. They want to get it back. I think that's a big matchup and a big advantage to Alabama in that one. Elsewhere, in case you want to look, I'm still looking, trying to find who's got the North Carolina Duke game. Gosh, that's a good question.
I mean,
I do not have access.
It's on ESPN. Go figure.
Yeah.
It's the prime time. ESPN's got the early games in the SEC today. Then they're flipping to the ACC for the night action. The SEC network will have the 2 night games, which will be Alabama, obviously, on the SEC network tonight.
Right.
But I've just noticed the guys that are normally, on ACC games have been doing SEC. Maybe that's part of the agreement that the SEC has with ESPN. Who knows? I think this is interesting as well, Barry. You might hear more about this later on today on the program. But the big mighty Big Ten, all of their games so far have been on the Big Ten network.
Yes.
Maybe Fox is going to pick them up tomorrow. Not sure, but I thought that was interesting too.
At my house, my wife Dee knows this, doubtlessly. I don't know if we get the Big Ten network. I don't even know if I can watch those games. We watched it on the bus yesterday. We watched Indiana lose. We did see that on the bus ride down. Indiana lost to who did they lose to? I sit there and watch the whole game, and now I can't. They lost to Oregon. Bad. I don't know why it happens. I don't know. It seems as though all of the ESPN eggs are in the SEC basket. Can you imagine what the negotiations were like? Sankey and the guys from ESPN saying, "Look, you're gonna pay all these billions of dollars. You're not putting us all of our first 3 days of the tournament on the SEC network. We love them. Those guys are great for, giving us the Vanderbilt, Mississippi State football game at 11 o'clock. Love that. There's a place for that. It ain't going to be for the SEC tournament. But we have a contract with the ACC. We'll throw them a bone, give them a couple of games late in the day on the early rounds of the on the bracket. So I'd like to know what I can't imagine the ACC is real happy with the SEC right now. But we're the flagship. Everybody loves the ACC tournament. I love the ACC tournament. I've been to the ACC tournament. But the ratings are with the SEC.
I would have not have known that you had been to the ACC tournament.
See, when I was a kid, we lived in Florida my whole life. Grew up in Florida, except for my half of my junior year and part of my senior year in high school. I was enrolled in 4 different high schools. Went to 3 different ones. No, they didn't keep kicking me out. But my senior year, I actually graduated from high school in Burlington, North Carolina, and which is right next to Greensboro. So I actually worked in Greensboro for a little while in minor league baseball, so I got to check out a few of the ACC tournaments. It is all that. Back in those days, even when you had Georgia Tech and Clemson on a Thursday noon, that place was packed. It was great.
I can imagine.
At the day.
I can imagine.
And it's still great. I mean, the fans still love their schools. It's still going on, but the basketball torch has been passed in the national consciousness to the Southeastern Conference. Ain't no question.
Now, Barry, if he sent it, maybe I overlooked it and didn't see, but Range Pro usually comes out with his top pick on the PGA Tour. Obviously, it's the TPC, the Players Championship in Ponte Vedra, where JJ Spawn has a 1-shot lead, shooting 7 under on the stadium course, but there's a pack right behind him with Min Wee Liu, Camilo Villegas, and Lucas Glover at 1 back at 6 under. Rory McIlroy is lurking as well, 2 shots back at 5 under. I watched a little of that yesterday as well. A lot of fun watching the TPC. So real interested to see where Range Pro stands with his well, let's just go ahead and say it. He's got a bet on the TPC. I want to know who he's betting on.
Yep. Dee has checked in. She's on our chat. She says, yes, we do have the Big Ten Network. Thanks, Dee.
Hey, Barry, you might also have the ACC Network, too, because I've got both. Now,
I know I've got the ACC Network. I just don't watch a lot of the Big Ten, that's for sure.
I don't watch either one of them, but as I'm channel surfing, I'll go, whoa. What was that channel? Oh, ACC. I don't want that. I'm not going to watch
By the way,
I got it.
Speaking of the Players Championship, there's a company called Cosm that is partnering with the PGA Tour. They've got the Players Championship in something called Shared Reality, where attendees can get the full TPC Sawgrass experience from thousands of miles away. They got a couple of venues. Can't tell you where. I don't know where they are. Unique camera positions on the 16th and 17th and 18th holes, including the Island Green, where they've actually got a camera in the water. They've got, I mean, it's immersive. It's like IMAX for golf, and they'll have it for all sporting events, to where you almost, John, would have a better experience like at an Iron Bowl.
Yep.
This is coming. This is going to be a thing where you can go to like their IMAX theater or their big, huge sports bar, and you could actually have a better viewing experience watching it on the immersive things where you can actually see every bit of it and all that. That's coming. The latest wrinkle in the world of television broadcasting, even more so than you could by simply going to the game and sitting in the heat and the sweat and then the tears and all of the the
it's
hassles
awesome.
there. It's coming up.
You're trying to make that viewing experience the best that it can to engage and keep the attention span of a guy like me. I mean, I got to have more
and cause more sleepless nights for guys like John Cohen and Greg Byrne about how are we going to keep people coming to our games. Well,
hey, how about this, Barry? Range Pro hit 5 out of 7 that he had a wager on yesterday at the TPCs, doubling down today. And our man Ty, wait a minute, hold on, Ty, stop the presses.
What?
You're telling us that Tiger Woods is dating Don Jr.'s ex-wife, and she's pretty attractive. I don't know what happened in that marriage, but she's pretty attractive. Tiger dating Don Jr.'s ex-wife. Now, there's a scoop.
Now I know why he tore his Achilles. Well, it's John is live. He is at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road, Prattville, Alabama, the preferred city, the preferred community. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Margarites Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. Of course, Margarites, 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree. And Marianne, tell us where you are today. That's a very interesting piece of equipment I see.
Exactly. Yeah, I promise it's not growing out of my head, but this is our microscope. We're not in the science lab, but jewelry, as you know, has lots of different components. And at Margarites, we have a fully trained staff. Myself and Benji and Lyle have all gone to GIA, which stands for the Gemological Institute of America. I did my training in Carlsbad, California. Lyle and Benji did their training in New York. And they train us to look at the anatomy of a diamond or the anatomy of a gemstone. So we look through this microscope and we can do other tests like RA and different things with acids and different types of chemicals, and through different types of magnification and UV light, we can tell if a gemstone is in fact natural or synthetic or what type of stone it is. If great grandma had this green stone that she wore every day, we can tell you if it's an emerald or a peridot, lots of different things. But again, just like we've said before, we're a full service jeweler at Margarites. So we can help you get in the know when it comes to your stone, tell you about the anatomy of your diamond, or tell you what the heck it is.
Yep, that is fantastic, Marianne. A full service jeweler. That's so important. Where are you located? Give us your hours of operation so our viewers and listeners can come see you.
Most definitely. 8163 Vaughn Road in the Peppertree Shopping Center. We're close to Chappie's Deli. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Go by and see them, folks. Marianne and that staff can help you with all of your jewelry needs. Thanks, Marianne.
Thanks.
Okay, back at it about 26 minutes to the 24 minutes past the hour or to the hour of 8 o'clock this morning. I'm live here at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars. Folks, you got to come see them. It's markdown madness. The Jeep lineup. Lease a Jeep Compass, $299 a month. How about $17,000 off a Jeep Wrangler Sierra? And how about this? You can get a Jeep Grand Cherokee at $17,000 off. Just a few of the many great deals on the Jeep lineup going on. Of course, the Chrysler, the Dodge, the Ram, they got it all for you here. We're going to be telling you about it all morning long. Come by and see them today. Markdown madness, where you're going to save thousands, and I mean thousands, on a vehicle of your choice here at Alabama's largest volume. It's Alabama and Northwest Florida.
Yeah.
Want to make sure I include Northwest Florida, from Tallahassee to Pensacola, all the way up to Huntsville, that whole area. The largest volume Ram dealer right here in Prattville. Come by and see why they are, because Price sells Ram trucks, the Jeep lineup, the Chrysler, and the Dodge. All right, Barry, Range Pro has answered the bell. I know everybody he's got today in head. So what
how does this
here,
work?
Barry,
how does this work?
You're betting head to head. So what they'll do is these sports books, they will have, head-to-head competition between these groups that are playing today. So he's got, Clark over Hovland, Oberg over Matsuyama, Henley over Thomas, and Spieth over Fitzpatrick, Cantlay over Fleetwood. So he's got those 5 against those other 5 head up in the act just today.
Yeah.
Just round 2 today.
They're not necessarily in the same group or anything, right?
Well, they could be. Yeah,
but they're not. But that's not. Today. It's not absolute set in stone that they
Correct.
are. Yeah.
Oh. So it's pretty. It's pretty good. It's not Al Michaels. It's Ralph Michaels. Chris, come on, buddy.
Well, I also wondered about this. In that context, I wondered about this. King, Lemon. No, he means Don Trump Jr. I was wondering, Don Lemon's ex, Don King, his ex.
Don Lemon's ex would be, I don't know if he Tiger would be dating him.
You talk about I saw, he said, I saw where Tiger Woods is dating Don Jr.'s ex-wife. And Ty says, Don Jr. said he wished them all the best. Yeah, because he ain't got to pay that alimony anymore. I imagine that's the case.
I understand they really get along extremely well for, a divorced couple. You know, their daughter, Kaya, is a really good golfer. She's on social media all the time. I don't think Tiger's dating her. She seems a little young, but I don't know. Tiger might be dating her. Who knows? But good for Tiger as he heals up that Achilles. All right, Barry, later today, we're going to continue our series of win totals with SEC football teams. We have made our way down the list. Today is Kentucky. We're going to go over the Wildcats a little bit later in the program today. So get ready for that. You know, people ask, you know, Barry's traveling. Sometimes he can't be on with us. People will text, hey, man, what team we doing today? Well, we can't do it unless we're both here. I mean, that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've got opinions. I've got, you know, I would hate to have missed Kentucky. That's for sure.
No doubt. So what do we see? We just face the music and get this over with and rip the Band-Aid off. Now, Barry, maybe we got a little cocky. Maybe. Yesterday, we were kind of gloating, you know, tooting our own horn.
Guilty.
About how we were 3-0. Had the week had started out really well for the Phantom's Daily Dog.
Phantom knows better than that. He knows better than that. Gloating.
Got a little giddy.
Getting full of themselves.
Yes.
The Phantom has been humbled before.
Yeah, and we were saying, hey, 3-0. We already have a winning week. Guaranteed of a winning week. Should have never said that. The second it left my lips, I went, that was probably not
that
good.
Was you know, you had to have a word with the Phantom about that one.
Yeah. So we had Mississippi State catching 3.5 last night against Missouri.
Oh.
Yeah. And, you know, it was kind of back and forth. Mississippi State was leading. It was a good game till about the last minute and a half when State forgot how to play basketball.
They all
never. All I could think of was Bart. I thought, you know, if I was sitting in a room with Bart watching this, I wonder what his reactions would be.
Well, you know, people, this is the bad thing about it. It was in Game 7. It was the third game of the day yesterday. Terrific game. Until the last couple of minutes. I mean, Mississippi State was playing well. I really liked their coach, Chris Jantz. He had some good comments in the live coaches section with the sideline reporter, which I hate. And then at the very last minute, it looked as though they had suddenly gotten mass kidnapped and replaced by the junior high school team from Double Springs or something like that. And think, what do you do? What are you doing? Anyway, Missouri wins it by 12. When at the very most, they very well could have lost it. They could have lost that game, or at the very least, could have lost that game by like one possession or something like that.
Yeah, it was tough. But hey, we move on. So we're going to go ahead and release the Phantom's Daily Dog right now. And Barry, we're going to go to Indianapolis, Indiana.
Right.
Of the Big Ten tournament. For our Daily Dog today, we are taking the Michigan Wolverines +3, taking on Purdue. Tonight, the game is at 8 p.m. So you might have to go dual screen. Bama, Kentucky, Michigan, Purdue.
These are two even teams. Both of them won 22 games overall. One of them's ranked 20th. One of them's ranked 22nd. Good game. I'd hate to have to be the one to put a number on that one.
We're going to take the Michigan Wolverines tonight. Maybe a little seeding, something here. If they win, move up a little bit further into into the brackets, possibly. So going with Michigan.
What number you got? What number you got on that one? Michigan.
I'm looking at Wager Talk, and I've got one of the sports books has it at 3. Michigan's catching 3.
Yeah, that's what I got. Okay, good deal.
Yeah,
good deal. Kind of like that one. Whew. Couldn't the Phantom have picked an easier game than that? That's a tough one to handicap.
You know, somebody asked me, say, "Hey man, Phantom, can you pick one of these like 12 o'clock tips? Can I go ahead and get it in the bank early?"
Yeah.
But hey, whoa! Look, we're looking for the best game on the board. I'm not looking for convenience. I mean,
if you can't stand the heat, you know, you probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
you know?
Guy goes, "Hey, Phantom, pick an early game so I can go to bed with money in my pocket."
Out of
work that way.
So there you go. Our Phantom's daily dog, his dog of the day, is Michigan minus the 3 against Purdue. I'm sorry,
3.
Plus the 3. That's what I meant to say. In the NCAA's, in the Big Ten's semifinal round. In the SEC tournament, again, noon, Auburn and Ole Miss, 2:30, Texas and Tennessee, 6 o'clock, Missouri and Florida. Watch out for the Gators in this deal. And then Kentucky, Alabama, 8:30 at night. Out of those 4 games, the biggest number is the Auburn-Ole Miss game. Auburn favored by, I got it at 11.5. Tennessee's a 9.5-point favorite against Texas. Florida is an 8.5-point favorite over Missouri, and Alabama is a 6.5-point favorite over Kentucky. Rarely will you get into the quarterfinal round and have 4 games where all 4 of those are fairly healthy spreads.
So, Barry, here's the way I look at it. I think if today's games go as I guess they will, where all the chalk's going to win, tomorrow, of the games tomorrow, Alabama beating Florida and making it to Sunday, I think is going to be really difficult. Florida's already beaten Alabama. I think Florida's playing really well, and people aren't paying attention to them. I saw an interview with their head coach last night.
I saw that one too. He's impressive, isn't he, John?
He's impressive. And I was sitting there going,
that same
who is
interview.
This guy? You know, I mean, man, I don't remember for where he was prior to coming to Gainesville, but I just think Florida's sneaky good. You better watch out. I think if Alabama wins tonight, Florida wins. Going to be tough for Alabama to get to Sunday. I think Tennessee's going to be a tough matchup for Auburn, but I like Auburn's chances of beating Tennessee a lot more than I do Alabama's beating Florida.
See, that's fair. If you're presupposing that they're going to get to the semifinals, I agree with that as well. Again, Florida's 27-4. They beat Alabama, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that, pretty convincingly in Tuscaloosa to end the regular year. It was a week ago. Watch out for them. The one team that I do not like in any of this is Texas. I think Texas, they've done enough. They've won 2 games. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Texas A&M. They've done enough to get into the tournament. I think Texas is ready to just cash in their chips and head back to Austin.
Tomorrow, the Saturday game begins at noon. So Auburn, Tennessee, like I said, chalk wins. They're going to play at noon tomorrow. The second game will be about 2:30-ish or so.
Right.
Barry, Alabama's game might not be over till midnight tonight. Florida plays at 6.
That's
get
true.
A little more rest. Alabama has got to play at 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock, and then they got to get up the next morning and play. You got to factor that in as well. If Bama's got to play again with not a lot of rest going into the semifinals.
Just about a half hour ago, Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com, CBS Sports bracketology and college football playoff expert, he has updated his bracket. He has got Alabama still. Alabama's been rock solid as a 2 seed in Lexington, where they would take on the number 15 seed Wofford.
A friend of mine went to Wofford.
Yes. Wofford is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Yes.
But I'm trying to think of what their mascot. Bulldogs?
Oh, close, kind of. It's a dog. They are the Wofford Terriers. Yep. They've got Auburn still as a very solid 1 seed in Lexington as well against a 16 seed coming out of the first 4. And they've still got he has still got Troy as a 14 seed in Milwaukee against Wisconsin. Ouch.
Wisconsin.
You gotta play Wisconsin in Milwaukee.
Oh,
you're gonna break all the hearts of those cheeseheads up there when the Trojans go up there and smack down the Badgers in front of their home fans. Gary Palm, I hope it happens because Wisconsin's going to get a can opened up on them in Milwaukee in front of their home people.
That's like going to Czechoslovakia or something. I mean, Wisconsin.
But believe me, Troy's not going to just zip in and zip out.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
Watch
Chris,
Stripes, great movie.
Molly is easy on the eyes. She's the court reporter for the SEC tournament games. Greg has
She's
a question.
also very smart, very poised. She's very knowledgeable, highly professional. Come on, Chris. Oh, she's easy on the eyes.
Chris, why do you think she's on the floor? Kind of like some of those sideline reporters in football. Just saying. Greg, what about Greg's question? I find that one interesting.
Bama advances and beats Florida, will Bama be back on the 1 seed? Two things about it. Number one, I think they could, but obviously the main point to make is that you got to look at the other ones out there. You got to look at the other 1 seeds. Would Houston lose? Houston would have to lose in the Big 12 tournament, and I don't think they will. Duke would have to lose in the ACC tournament, which I think could happen. That's the one to watch. To answer Greg's question, watch Duke, North Carolina. If Duke gets bounced out, does the committee take into account Cooper Flagg's injury? What was the football? Yeah, Florida State. Remember that year that they went 12-0 and didn't get into the college football playoff because Jordan Travis, their quarterback, got hurt? And they said, well, they're not going to be as good without the quarterback. Yeah, but they were 12-0. Same thing with Duke. Would Duke get out of it being a 1 seed because their star player is injured, even though they're whatever they are would be 29-2 or something like that? That's the one to watch out for. And your question is, watch Duke in the ACC tournament.
So if Bama not only beats Greg, let me take it a little further.
All right.
And I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I think it's just
that's the other point I was going to make. Yep, that's the other point. Don't get too caught up in that. Believe me.
Yeah, I mean, like Travis
ask Auburn fans in 04.
I mean, being on that 2 line can be beneficial. But I think Alabama's got to win the tournament to be a 1 seed. They got to knock off Florida and Auburn.
To
beating
ensure
Auburn twice in a week. Yeah, I think if they win the tournament, Greg, they'll be a 1 seed.
That's fair. Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
I don't know that they do that, but if they do, I think there's a chance. But again, remember what John says. It ain't that big of a deal.
It ain't that
being
big of
a 1
deal.
Versus being a 2, not a huge difference if you ask me.
I tell you what is a big deal, Barry. And people are still. Are you sure you said that right? Yeah.
Put an extra 0 in that number.
$21,000 off or 1.9% APR for 72 months on 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Edition pickups at Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer right here in Prattville, Alabama. This is where I am. Check out that big Ram truck behind me right there. How about that one?
Like it.
Yeah, that could be yours too if you want it. So, folks, come on out here. If you need they call them heavy duty. 1500s are kind of, daily use around the farm or something like that. But if you or just want to, driving around, but if you need a heavy duty,
if you have to pull a stump,
yeah, 25, you're pulling cattle, whatever, 2,500 or 3,500 Ram pickups, very heavy duties, up to $14,000 off those models as well. So great deals going on right here, right now at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where I'm telling you, price sells cars.
Well, now you know John's location. I am in Lafayette, Louisiana for Troy Baseball, opening up a 3-game Sunbelt Series at 6 tonight against the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Okay, back at it a couple of minutes to the top of the hour. We're going to be joined here in a couple of minutes by, well, a name most people have heard of in this state and around the country for that matter. Bill Bubba Bussey is going to join us. Of course, he is doing a podcast now, Bubba on the Lake. Looking forward to talking to Bill Bubba Bussey today. He's a sports fan himself, and he's got something going on up there at the lake, and certainly looking forward to hooking up with him here in just a moment. I'm at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars. Barry is in Lafayette, Louisiana. And if you're an old guy, that used to be called Southwest Louisiana.
Yes, yeah. University of Southwestern Louisiana. They've always been the Ragin' Cajuns. Troy opens the baseball Sunbelt schedule tonight at 6. Troy, one of the latest polls has Troy at number 18. The 3 best teams, or the 3 most highest rated teams, we'll call it 4. The 4 highest rated teams in the Sun Belt in terms of national rankings: Troy at number 18, Louisiana, Southern Miss, and Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina comes to Troy next week, but I'm not going to be able to do those games because I'm going to be calling tournament games in the NCAA tournament. Looking forward to that. But it's 6 o'clock tonight on the road. Big challenge for Skylar Meade and his team. Loving the college baseball vibe right now, but we understand sometimes it takes a little bit of a back seat to NCAA tournament, NCAA seeding, all of these different things. Leading in from the conference tournaments. Troy's conference was an early conference tournament. Troy won the Sun Belt tournament title to go along with the regular season title on Monday, and now they're just sitting back and staying ready, staying prepared. Everybody else getting through midweek, late week, and some of the big conferences at the end of this. Bill, I think it was Bill from Baltimore, was asking, I think the SEC needs to move their championship tournament title game to Saturday and not Sunday. At least it gives another day of rest before the bigger tournament. Bill, I get it. It's like so many things that people bring up, John. I think the SEC should move its tournament title game so they play Saturday and have an extra day of rest. Let me tell you, the truth is that if ESPN told the SEC to move their championship game to the Walmart in Calera at the parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning, first thing the SEC is going to do is they're going to get in touch with the lighting company to have them bring lights out there. Hey, can you get somebody else to bring aluminum bleachers? I think we can do that. Somebody to sell popcorn and hot dogs, they would do it. They play it on a Sunday. right before the selection show, which is at 5 o'clock this Sunday, for a reason, John.
They certainly do. They do not want to put World Series of Poker reruns or the cheerleader competition from SeaWorld on Sunday. They want to put prime college basketball in on that window. And if it's a little inconvenient for the players and the schools, so be it. We're writing the checks. We're telling you what you're going to do. Like Judge Schmale said, you're playing golf today, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And you're not getting a cheeseburger or a hamburger.
You're getting nothing and like it.
Yeah, you're getting nothing and like it. So
yes,
that's just kind of the way it is when it comes
to. And don't count
that,
that, Spalding. Yes.
Yeah, and I get it. I know what you're saying. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a great, in theory. I get it. It kind of reminds me, Barry, of member guest golf tournaments, which will be starting up in the spring and the summer. And so, years ago, somebody figured out you don't want your member guest golf tournament to end on a Sunday. You want it to end on a Saturday and start like on a Thursday, because you need that day to kind of rest and recoup, kind of sober up a little bit to go back to work on Monday. So, I hear what you're saying. I would like that too, but that
theoretically, we're with you.
Not happening.
In two of John's favorite phrases, the real world and business world. It ain't never going to be that way.
Not going to be that way.
But continue your dream.
That.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of like the college football national championship being in late January. It's going to be even later. Just get ready, folks, with 16 teams. All right, Barry, we are so excited to bring on our next guest. I mean, everybody knows this guy. He is doing a podcast, Bubba on the Lake. We're talking about our man, Bill Bubba Bussey, joining Longshore and McKnight here this morning. Hey, Bubba, good morning. How you doing today, my friend? Glad you're with us.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing? I didn't dress up because I thought we were doing radio today, but I got the camera going. We're good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Sometimes we like to surprise our guests because we've had guys coming on before, with they've got T-shirts on, they've got the tank tops on, and they're thinking, "Oh, hey, I'm on camera." Yeah, well, sometimes we like to surprise you to catch you in your natural element, Bubba.
Well, you got me in my natural element today, guys. I wanted to tell you what a pleasure and honor it is to be on with you guys. Y'all are legends in this business, and I admire what you guys have accomplished, and we're just glad to be on with you today.
Well, we're so glad that you're on with us, Bubba, as well. And you're right, Barry and I were in radio together for almost 30 years, and nobody could see us. Now we got to comb our hair and wash our face because everybody's looking at us all morning long. It's a little different now.
Yeah, I better get my shirt buttoned up here. I'll be in trouble with the missus when she reviews this later.
So catch us up a little bit. I know you have been a busy man over the last little while. What's your life like now?
Well, we're living full time at the lake, Lake Martin, which is a beautiful area. I know you gentlemen are very familiar with it. And we are working full time at Jacksonville State University in the athletic department. I'm an assistant athletic director there, and their director of broadcasting. And you know how university sports have grown. Moving up to D1, we produce between 150 and 200 live sporting events a year, either for TV, radio, or streaming. So it's a little bit like being an air traffic controller or a travel agent sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces within an athletic department. And you're right. I mean, certainly Barry's familiar with it, being affiliated with Troy, the voice of the Troy Trojans. And you look at Auburn and Alabama. You're right, Bill. I mean, it is turned into a, multi-million-dollar business.
Oh, it is. It's big time, but it's driven by the consumer, and it's a good product, and people enjoy it, and we're glad they do. I love sports, and I know you guys do too. And I think it's one of the great things in our culture that long down the road, people will look back and see our love of sports and realize that's probably one of the things that kept us from having so many wars and skirmishes and rock fights. That, I've always thought the Middle East needed a good softball league so they could blow off a little steam. You know what I mean?
Why not? Have the Iranians over there. Maybe they hit a double. Somebody scores them. They come back, crack open a something to drink and just visit, maybe have a conversation with the second baseman while you're out there. Find some common ground.
Yeah. I mean, argue the calls at third base. Let's quit bombing each other. I think that's a better way to go at it.
Well, Bubba, maybe a little church league basketball, because as I've said forever, I played a lot of basketball, but there were more cheap shots and there was more talking and mouthing off in church basketball than any other basketball I ever played.
Well, it's a little different type of trash talk, like, hey, you ain't gonna get into heaven with that jump shot. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah. I was at Jacksonville State on Tuesday, and you got it going on. I mean, I missed Mike Paris. He was doing women's basketball up in North Alabama. Mike's been a friend of mine for forever, the voice of the Gamecocks. But I did get a chance to visit with Eli Gold, who was doing the ESPN Plus, and Jim Case, who the stadium's named after, who was doing color. And so, Bill, it's not just being an air traffic controller and getting those games on. It's getting them on and producing them well. And I think you guys have done a really good job. Having Eli there, of course, gives you a voice of authority. It's not just doing it. It's doing it really, really, really high quality.
Well, we're striving for that, Barry. We certainly have our days. We use a lot of students in our broadcast.
Right.
That's part of the learning experience, and they're going to make mistakes along the way. But Greg Sykes, our AD, and Don Killingsworth, our president, they've had a real vision, and frankly, they get it. They realize no matter how, right or wrong, your university is known by its sports program, and even more so, it's known by its football program. So, they're trying to be excellent in that, and I appreciate the investment they've made. Like you said, Mike Paris has been there 40 years and does a great job.
Yep.
Eli Gold, he's a legendary broadcaster. And we have a lot of other guys that are very, very good, may not be as well known on the national scene, but they come in and do a great job for us. We try to incorporate students when they're able to do that. As a matter of fact, tonight you were there.
Right.
And it gets complicated with these teams playing everywhere. We had Mike Paris and the radio network at the basketball tournament in Huntsville.
Right.
So for a audio outlet, we stream the game in Jacksonville. Tommy Wood and one of our students, Hayden Coker, did that game, and it was a great game. I hate that I missed you, Barry, but I was there earlier in the day. And, now I'm management, so I got to get out of there at 5,
Right.
So they're really laughing about that 5 o'clock at the office if they're watching this.
Yeah.
But, it is a job that a lot of it is out of the office and it's hands-on and it's all kind of crazy hours. But I love it. I grew up in Jacksonville. I could literally see the lights of the stadium from my house. So to be back there and working in the athletic department and hopefully using some of the acquired skills, and I use that talent, that and talent with quotations, it's been a lot of fun. It really has.
Well, let me ask you this. Yep. Let me ask you this before your run with Rick and Rick and Bubba for so many years. You talk about radio legends, John. Goodness gracious.
Oh,
they
yeah.
shook up
Heck yeah.
They shook up the entire industry. Looking back on it all now, do you ever look back and just shake your head and say, what a lucky guy I was? Do you ever look back on that now and think, boy, did that really happen? Man, that was something.
Barry, that's a great question. It is a bit surreal, and it's probably more surreal now than it was even while we were doing it, because, you get into that routine every day. You're getting up, especially if you're doing a morning show, you get up very early, which means you go to bed early. You have to kind of get in it, be a slave to a routine or you can't get it done. So sometimes you get a little tunnel vision about what you're doing and trying to get there and get everything done every day. And then when you sit back and it's over, you realize, wow, that was quite a run. I feel very, very blessed to have the time that we had. And, I tried to ride Rick's coattails as long as I could because I didn't have a lot of talent. I was an engineer by trade. I've done a little everything in the business, from ownership to sales to programming. So we had a good time, and I do feel very blessed. We're excited about the new chapter where we're doing a podcast now. We're going to see how that goes. I mean, that may run in the ground, who knows? But everybody else is doing one. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. And tell our viewers and listeners, I mean, how can they find your podcast? How often
What's
do
it
you
all
do
about? Yeah.
Well, now, John and Barry, when you talk about what it's all about, I only know to do these things one way, and that's kind of whatever I'm thinking about, So it's going to be a lot like the show. We're going to talk news. We're going to cover politics. We're going to cover some religion. We're going to cover sports. It's kind of whatever is out there in front of us that day. We use the term Bubba on the Lake as kind of an umbrella. It's obviously not going to be just about living on the lake or the Gulf of America, but it will have a lot of that in it too. I would really like for you guys to come, and we could do an interview on my podcast on the pontoon boat while we're moving out on the lake. See,
well, I was going to ask you that, Bubba. We've had some people on our chat line ask what part of the lake is Bubba on, because I'm very familiar with Lake Martin. Spent a lot of time up there.
And John, really, I'd rather not say. But
no. yeah, I get that. I'd love.
Now, listen, I will just say this: Bruce Pearl is a neighbor of mine.
Okay, enough said. I know exactly where you are.
It's probably the only giant Israeli flag you're going to find on Lake Martin. There may be another one. I don't know. It's very beautiful. But we were really proud. We'd saved and got down here, and we wanted this to be our little retirement place. And then Bruce moves in and builds that mansion next door. Mine looks like the gardener shack right down the street from Bruce. That's the best way to find it.
Yeah, well, I know exactly where you're located.
I like the idea, John and Barry on a pontoon boat. Unlike Pat Dye, I guarantee you won't find my pants on the shore 20 years later. That's for sure. Promise you that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's interesting, Bubba, because Barry and I have been together a long time, and people ask us, what do y'all talk about? And a lot of it's like what you and Rick have done in your career and what you're doing now. I mean, it's a lot of obviously sports, but we talk a lot about daily issues and what's going on, and that's the beauty of it. I think that's why we've been able to stay around and stick together for so long.
Well, that is the beauty, being able to put up with each other. Anybody that's married knows that trick. But, again, Rick and I, 31 years, most radio shows never make it even close to that. So, we're very thankful for that. But you guys do a great job. And, Barry, listen, we got to get our teams playing on football again. What can we do to get Jack State and Troy playing?
You are speaking to the choir. Believe me, there's a lot of people right now who are texting me saying the same thing. Hey, since Bill is a muckety muck, since Bubba's up there at the top of this deal right now and he's swinging all this weight, see if he can get Troy and Jack State back again. People don't realize, people like you and me, old school guys, they know what that used to be. I've broadcast a lot of those games. Man, that was deeply felt between those two schools. I'm totally with you.
Well, Barry, you're probably like me. I have a lot of Troy State friends that and we're always giving each other the business. And the sad thing, it's been so long since they've played. We've got a whole generation of kids that have grown up that doesn't know to hate the other school.
You wonder about the direction of America sometimes.
Well, it's one of those great things. It goes back to what we were talking about. It's a fun rivalry. You can get fired up. You can print the cute T-shirts, and man, it packs the stadium out. People plan family events around coming to town for that game. And I've been to the games in Troy too. They're very exciting. Yeah. And we won a few, we lost a few, but it was a great rivalry. And I think I could probably get Greg on the phone if you could get your guy. We could. I think I have carte blanche to set that up.
Let everybody remember that on March the 14th, that's when the ball really got rolling, when both Bubba and Barry got their shoulders to the wheel and moved this thing along. This is the start of something big.
Yeah, I can't wait till our president. His phone's probably ringing right now going, do you know that Bubba just made y'all a deal? So that'll be good.
That would be good.
We got Brent Jones on speed dial, Bubba. We'll let him know that we're going to set this game up.
Listen, I come with official greetings. I wish I had it in an envelope or something here that we are ready to play whenever you guys want to. And, we don't want to get caught up in this technicality of who's playing who first and where and all that. We just want to get it started again.
Yeah. With you.
Love it.
Absolutely with you. Good stuff.
So Barry,
Bubba,
you're good. Are we on the record all over the state? Barry said Troy is good.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I can say for
it.
Jacksonville, we are good.
All right.
And I'm the witness. I've witnessed it here. So yeah, boom, it's seconded. And we are good to go. Man, that is awesome. Bubba, man, this has been such a treat. Really enjoyed getting with you, and I know we'll probably do it again sometime soon. But, man, good luck on the podcast. That's exciting. I know you're real fired up about that.
Wait, it's over already? We
just got started. Right by you. When you're with people that you love and respect, I'm telling you, it goes by quick. I know
I thought we were going to 11 today.
You know, Bubba, I'll share a quick story with you. We used to have Coach, we've already mentioned Coach Dye once today. We used to have Coach Dye on our show every week. And I'm telling you, Bubba, we'd get into it. We'd be 15 minutes into the interview. And we'd say, all right, Coach, thank you so much. We got to wrap it up, and we'll see you next week. He'd go, whoa. Is it already time for
I'm not done talking yet.
I'm not done talking yet.
Yeah. Wonderful to visit with you and catch up. Thanks for the time.
Enjoyed it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. What a treat. Bill Bubba Bussey joining us here today on Longshore and McKnight. Bubba on the lake. You got to check that out. Let me tell you what else you got to check out.
All right.
Right where I am here in Prattville, Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Listen up closely. $21,000. $21,000 off or 1.9% APR for 72 months on a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Edition. You heard me right. If you didn't, hit the rewind button and listen again, because that's what I said, and I'm sticking to it. You can also get that same vehicle, if this is better for you, at $17,000 off or 3.9% APR for 72 months. It's your choice. But, folks, they've got Ram vehicles here for you, Ram trucks in Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer. Also, great deals on the Jeep lineup. You can lease a Jeep Compass at $299 a month. You can get a Jeep Wrangler Sierra at $17,000 off and $17,000 off a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Just a few of the many great deals here at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. And yes, Chris, I could be a car salesman. I appreciate the compliment. Yes. What's it going to take for me to get you into one of these cars? How about that?
You got to believe in your product, number one. And John and I both believe in Styers vehicles. Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is where John is right now. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Ralph Michaels from Wager Talk and the Gold Sheet. Imagine we're going to talk a little basketball, John.
Barry, when we get back, we're going to talk about the Kentucky Wildcats. They got a win total of 4.5. We're going to go through their 2025 schedule and kind of see where they are.
There we go. That's coming up with Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. All right, welcome back in, everybody. About 20 minutes to the past the hour here on this Friday morning. Barry, I'm looking at Kentucky's schedule.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a little help here. Before we get it into game by game, I'm just going to ask you this question because this could really help me out. Can Kentucky beat Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Tennessee Tech? Can they beat those three teams?
Yes. They were 4-8 last year. They were not very good at all. They had a 4-game losing streak. And the middle of the year, they lose some people off of that one. Toledo is pretty good. They win that one. Eastern Michigan, they'll win that one. Tennessee Tech, of course, they'll win that one. Louisville, not sure. Not sure about Louisville.
I'm not either. They're playing that game on the road.
Yeah, at Louisville.
You know, with Vanderbilt, the game's in Nashville. The stadium finally the renovation's complete. Diego Pava still back, calling the signals for them. I don't like their chances there. I don't either. Trying to find a conference win. They're not going to beat Ole Miss.
They'll win they're not like epically, like horrendously bad team in the history of the SEC, like, some of the other ones we've seen. They got to win one of those. They're not putrid or anything. But I'm with you. I'm trying to. They got South Carolina, but South Carolina is going to be good this year. They may be preseason top 12. And they play them in Columbia, South Carolina, too.
All right, so I'm looking for a little group, a cluster of games where they might be able to shock the world, as they say.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. They play at Georgia, then they're off, and they got Texas. I do not like that. They're going to lose those. Tennessee the next week, that's going to be a tough stretch. Then they get
Tennessee and Texas back-to-back are both in Lexington. Before they go to Auburn. Yes.
Yeah. There we go. So then they get into this stretch at Auburn. Then Florida comes to Lexington. They got that Tennessee Tech game that we talked about. And then they travel to Vanderbilt. So in that 4-game stretch for Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee Tech, and Vanderbilt. I think we're going to agree they're going to beat Tennessee Tech. The other 3 remaining, Auburn, Florida, and Vanderbilt, who have they got the best chance to beat?
Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt is going to be sturdy. They're going to be sturdy. Florida's going to be good. Auburn's on the road, on the plains.
There's always one of those kind of games that you're not expecting. I'm not saying Auburn's going to lose it, but is that kind of like, whoa, what happened here kind of game?
Well, you get, what the mindset is for fans on the outside looking in at Kentucky. They'll lose to Tennessee, and you're like, well, you always lose to Tennessee. Of course, they're going to lose to Georgia. Everybody's losing to Georgia. They'll give Florida a good game, but, Florida's going to have a better year. But every once in a while, Kentucky will look up and they'll beat somebody that they probably aren't supposed to beat. And you say, well, Kentucky does that too every once in a while. Once in a while. Last year, it was Ole Miss that they really should not have won. I mean, Ole Miss should have beaten them. It was in Oxford. I remember that game. But they'll always have that one game that you'll say, oh, yeah, Kentucky's capable of doing that every once in a while. They can't do it on a sustained basis, but they'll do it every once in a while. My problem is I can't find that game this year. Vanderbilt on the road is about all I can come up with. Maybe maybe it's just it's a combination, John, that you don't see all the time. It's a combination of a not very good team and a brutal schedule.
Well, it is, and when you hear Mark Stoops talking about stuff like, "Oh, I love the chemistry of this team," and the yada yada. Well, that means he ain't got any depth.
Yeah,
that's just coach speak, and not really thrilled about what they got.
Yeah.
The transfer portal's killing them, but I will say, maybe I'm putting too much stock in Vanderbilt. If we're going to get to Vanderbilt's schedule later on, but I don't know. I think it's a real interesting cluster of games there when they got Auburn, Florida, Tennessee Tech, and Vandy. That stretch right there, they're going to beat somebody in that block other than Tennessee Tech. They're going to beat either Auburn, Florida, or Vanderbilt in that block of games.
Well, let's just suppose. Again, I don't think they're going to be very good. They're going to be on the phone to John Sumrall at some point, and tell him Mama called or whatever. But
yeah, sure.
Let's just suppose, just for conversation's sake, that the Kentucky Wildcats make the trip down on the first day of November to take on the Auburn Tigers.
Okay.
Auburn's rolling pretty good at that point. Heck, I can't do the math right now. 4-2, maybe 5-1 at that point. They go down there and they beat Auburn that day.
Woo!
Man.
Yeah.
I don't, this is that stretch though for Kentucky. You mentioned it. Georgia on the road. But you can actually even extend it forward. South Carolina, who's going to be top 12, top 15 in the country, on the road. Georgia on the road. Texas, who's going to be all that. Tennessee, they're going to be wore out. All 4 of those games are against teams that'll be ranked in the top 20. And 2 of them are going to be on the road. Before they go to Auburn, they may be worn down to a nub by the time they get to the Auburn game. But let's just say they win it. You and I ought to get on a Sunday show by that point.
Well, you're right about that. Gerd, thanks for that. We can take that Kentucky schedule down. Barry, this is where, there again, Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Tennessee Tech, they might lose one of those games from what I'm hearing coming out of Lexington. So I'm not saying those are guaranteed wins. I think they should be, but who the heck knows from what we're hearing. What conference game are they going to win? There again, I can see this team winning 4 games. I just don't see them winning 5. So I'm going under 4.5 with Kentucky. I think 4 is their ceiling. I think 4 is what they'll end up doing. What do you think?
My heart kind of roots for Kentucky. I always root for the underdog.
Yep.
John is always the underdog is to be stepped over like it's a dog doing its business on the I relate to the underdog, and I'm really rooting for this. I can't see more than one SEC win. I'm actually struggling a little bit to find one SEC win. So my heart is pained here to say this, but I don't think they get to 4.5 either. I'm going under on that.
All right, so Barry
I'd love
and
to be able to say it. I'm trying to conjure one up, trying to talk myself into it. I just can't do it.
Well, there you have it, folks. We agree. We both have Kentucky going under their win total of 4.5 games for the 2025 season on Monday.
Yep.
If my alphabet is right, LSU will be next.
Hang on, let me sing that song. The alphabet song. LSU would be next. LSU. A lot of people are having a hard time drawing a bead on the Bengal Tigers. We'll talk about them.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're at 8.5 at the moment. We'll talk LSU on Monday as we continue our series of win totals for college football, SEC style, and we'll continue that when we get back.
Yes.
Ralph Michaels from Wager Talk and the Gold Sheet. He's in the green room. He's ready to go. We're going to talk about some tournament basketball action, some numbers, some favorites, some underdogs with Ralph Michaels. Looking forward to checking back in with him after this quick timeout.
Yep. My buddy Neil, he was talking about our visit with Bill Bubba Bussey. And believe me, all my Troy fans are are in disbelief that we have a Jacksonville State guy on. Neil says, I think I still have a Whoop Jack State t-shirt from 30 years ago. The good thing about my buddy Neil is that it still fits, I'm sure. In associate, John is at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. I'm Barry McKnight in Lafayette, Louisiana. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball, and so are the deals at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Styers in Prattville. And at Styers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Hey, we're back at it here about 28 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm live at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer, where you can get a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie at $21 grand off or 1.9% APR. It's that simple, folks. Come by and see our friends here at Styers, where Price sells cars and trucks. Ralph Michaels, he joins us. He is from Wager Talk and the Gold Sheet. Ralph, it's good to see you. I hope you've been doing well since we last had our visits.
Hey, guys, doing great. It's been an interesting start to the conference tournaments. And, you know, many people say those next 4 days next week, starting Thursday, are the 4 most exciting days in sports. So I go back and forth. Sometimes New Year's Day, New Year's Eve bowl games or March, you know, so even the AFC and NFC championships, I think, Barry, you brought that up, that the championships are actually your favorite weekend. So one of your friends last time. So, but hey, it's always fun to talk about it when it's in the mix. And congratulations to the Troy Trojans. A nice job making the big dance, winning the Sun Belt.
Yeah, looking forward to going to the NCAA tournament next week. But Ralph, I really enjoy the experience of the Sun Belt tournament. For instance, you know, it's a big deal to all the teams there. You know, there are 14 teams. The fans are there with a chance to go to the big dance. Everybody talks about the opportunities in your line of business with the NCAA tournament. There is so much value in the conference tournaments. Don't sleep on them. Am I right?
Oh, I agree. I think there's actually more because you get the unique rest situations. And, you know, in the tournament, everyone has the same rest. I will say this, you know, when you're handicapping the tournaments next week, and we'll talk about this more next week, right? You know, when you have 4 days to prep, every coach can get his team ready. It's those turnarounds in the second day where I think the coaching edge is probably 2 or 3 points more important. And the same thing with the tournaments. You know, when you have situations where You have the better coaching staff, the deeper team. And, the thing is this, don't overreact too much to the first game with no rest. It's more the second and third. When you have a team's playing a third or fourth game and versus a team playing a second or a third, some of these situations with double buys are so valuable now, that we've seen a lot of conferences change the way they format to make sure their top couple seeds have a better opportunity to win with these staggered buys where, there's some conferences where you have to win 3 or 4 games to face a top 4 team because they have a double bye and then the 1 and 2 seeds have a triple bye.
Well, that's what happened in the Sun Belt tournament, and that's exactly why they did it, Ralph. You had teams that played they had to win on Tuesday, win on Wednesday, win on Thursday to even be able to play a 3 seed like Troy on a Friday. And that's the reason why they want those teams, their best teams through the regular season, to minimize the chance of an upset, so their best teams are the ones who have a chance to get to the NCAA. That's a thing.
With that said, you look at the way Troy finished. I mean, that's probably, I'm just shooting off the hip here, but it's probably the most dominant run in a conference tournament. A 20-point win against Old Dominion, a 19-point win against Madison, and a 13-point win against Arkansas State. To go through that and playing decent competition and have double-digit wins in all 3 games really is moving forward. And you know what? You look at their last 6 games. The only non-double-digit win was Texas State on the road.
That's right. Yeah. And that was a big one.
4 straight years of winning 20 or more games for Scott Cross and this Troy Trojan basketball team. So, Ralph, they might be a team that other programs might not want to overlook when the tournament begins next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I watched the Mountain West very closely.
Right.
Colorado State, who took care of Nevada last night. When you look at, I go to Bart Torvik. There's Ken Palm. There's Bart Torvik. There's a lot of analytics.
Right.
But if you guys have never visited barttorvik.com, I love it because you can change the dates. And you can look at road games only or road and neutral games, and it changes all the dynamics. So when I'm looking at tempo, looking at totals, teams play so much different at home than they do on the road or a neutral game. So Colorado State over the last 3 weeks has the number 14th most impressive resume. So I think they're a team that can win a few games in March Madness. The funny thing is there's so much value right now because they're still on the bubble. They probably need to win today, and they might likely need to win tomorrow. Now, the SEC and the Big Ten have sort of ruined it for the Mountain West because you look at the Mountain West, you probably could have San Diego State, New Mexico, Colorado State, and Utah State, all legitimate teams that had a shot to make it if this were not another year.
Right.
But, how many from the SEC make it? 9 or 10? The Big Ten probably gets 8. When you have 17 right there and then lock in all those automatic bids, the mid-majors, again, we've seen the last couple years, San Diego State and Butler, and those teams changed the way the mid-majors, it used to be getting 2 in from a mid-major was impossible. Now getting 3 in is not out of the realm, especially for the Mountain West.
Right.
So, Ralph, let me ask you this, Ralph. There's a lot of talk about, particularly with Auburn and Alabama, playing in the SEC tournament. They'll play today. They know they got bigger fish to fry down the road.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
And there's this feeling, I think it's maybe fans, media, it's not a big deal. I mean, they don't need to win it. They need to get rested up for the NCAA tournament. I personally don't buy into that. I'm thinking if you're making the trip and you're going up there, you're going to win and bring the trophy home. From a handicapping standpoint, how do you look at it? There's bigger things down the road, and they might not be as focused on this, or bam, they're there to win. How do you look at it?
Well, I will say this: number 1 seeds in conference tournaments, when you have an AP top 5 in game 1 of their conference tournaments, they're cashing 61%. Game 2 and on, they're cashing 38%. So I actually disagree, John. I think that if you are an AP top 10 team and you're locked into a 1 or a 2 seed, we've seen many times that Connecticut or teams that make a run to make it to the tournament say it actually helped us to lose and not play a 4 or 5 game stretch. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then have to turn around and travel Wednesday for a Thursday game. To have that weekend off, rest up your players, get more minutes. Obviously, Troy and mid-majors don't have that.
Right.
But I do look to fade those automatic 1 and 2 seeds after they win their first game. You don't want to go into the tournament not having played at all, but winning a game or two, you'll see them start extending minutes. So while they still may win the game, I think they're a very good bet again. So you may have the right time that they're trying to win, but those teams in that level are going to be a double-digit favorite the first round. They're likely going to be a 6-7 point favorite in the second round. They're likely going to be a 4-point favorite in the third round. So while they're extending minutes, getting it some second stringers in, because you always got to prepare for an injury in March Madness, especially playing 2 games in 3 days.
Right.
You want to get the kids that you have that aren't used to playing with pressure, having a few pressure-packed minutes. And you don't mind seeing them make a mistake in the conference tournaments, because that's where you want them to make the mistake versus round 2 when you're playing an upstart 8 seed as you're the 1 seed.
So saying that, Ralph, it seems like it would make sense to you if you're Duke and you've got North Carolina and you've got the freshman who turned an ankle and, who knows how bad it is. I don't care if it's just a twinge. John Shire is probably not going to play Cooper Flagg the rest of the tournament. And if you approach it the right way, you get some of those second liners. The kid yesterday, can't think of his name for Duke, who played in Flagg's place, was phenomenal there. There may be some value in just go ahead and shutting him down and making sure he's ready for the tournament and giving some of those other guys an opportunity to get some quality minutes, right?
Oh, God. I mean, we're talking one of the best players in college basketball history. There's no way in heck I am a coach playing him in the ACC tournament. Listen, we know the ACC is so weak. Hell, I almost rate the Mountain West. If you took Duke out and maybe Louisville and Clemson, I'd have the Mountain West higher than the ACC. I mean, you look at a bottom feeder team. They could win it without Flagg, but to me, it doesn't matter. The issue is this. I mean, Duke's going to want to win, and you have North Carolina. To me, I'm going to circle the under more in that North Carolina game. The total is not adjusted nearly enough without Flagg's offensive presence into the game. And we look at teams a lot of times and you could say, I don't remember the score. I'm pulling it up real quick. Duke scored 78, but Georgia Tech didn't know what to prepare for. When Flagg got hurt, it's a different story than North Carolina. So under for me in that game. And, Duke wins by double digits. Doesn't surprise me without Flagg. But I don't expect we see him unless Flagg is cleared 100%. He just wants to get a couple minutes on Saturday or Sunday just to keep his legs. But, when you're 21 years old and he's been working on his body his entire life and, you're playing a couple minutes, I'm not sure if it's going to make a difference for him or not.
So, Ralph, obviously hard to look ahead because we don't know who's playing tomorrow or Sunday. We have some feelings of who we think it should be. But what about tonight? Whether it's the SEC or any of these other tournament conference games that are going on today, is there one maybe we're overlooking that we need to keep a closer eye on that maybe you're studying?
Well, I will tell you this. I'm going to go to one game that I bet today. So, and I am talking about Clemson. Both Louisville and Clemson are 18-2. Now, granted, they're not 18-2 teams in conference play, but when I look at Clemson, they played 13 players last night. Both struggled. Clemson struggled with SMU, and Louisville was actually struggled much worse. They trailed by 15 against Stanford. They had the tip in on the buzzer to win. But Louisville is number 355 in bench minutes. They only played 6 players more than 6 minutes last night. Now, them playing back-to-back is totally different. Clemson played 12 players, and 10 players played 18 minutes or more. Brownwell completely divided the minutes, even though he was behind, to try to get his team ready for the next day. So you had 2 different situations. You have a better 3-point offense. You have a better 3-point defense. You have a better free throw shooting team. Again, Louisville's actually the higher seed because they won the one game this year. But I like Clemson to advance in this game, and that is an actual client release and something that I bet.
So, I mean, wow. I'm going to have to go quad box tonight, Ralph, on my TV because we got Alabama, Kentucky. Now I got to watch Clemson and Louisville. I've already said something about Michigan and Purdue earlier today. I got to take a nap so I can stay up to watch all these games tonight. It's going to be amazing.
And who did you like in Purdue, Michigan?
I like Michigan catching the 3.
What do you think?
I lean the other way, but I wasn't there when I started doing, and I haven't gotten through all the games, obviously, because you're playing last night, and I don't watch them all. I still have to go to bed early because I'm an old guy. So, but you know,
hey, we go to bed early too. I tell you. Woo.
But again, when I look at current form, both teams struggled down the stretch. Purdue has played poor defense. I think, to me, my edge to Purdue is this. Purdue's poor defense, I think, is more recoverable than Michigan's horrific offense the last 5 or 6 games. I mean, they are shooting like you and me getting covered by the Boston Celtics. So, again, I lean the under as well in that game, but slight lean for me with Purdue. I just wanted to see which way you were going in that game.
Yeah.
Ralph Michaels from Wager Talk in the Gold Sheet. You said something early on here that has piqued a lot of people that have texted me so far. You mentioned that we're going to go over NCAA tournament games next week, and everybody says Ralph is going to be on next week then, right?
Yeah, let me just give you 2 samples of things that we'll talk about more next week.
Okay.
You know, how about seeds 1, 2, and 3? First, let's jump back. The last 3 years, more favorites or more dogs? What's covered in the entire tournament? It's been 50.8%. The unders have leaned to the under. But in round 1, favorites have actually covered 52%, and 59% of every round 1 game has gone under the total.
Man,
so,
wow.
You know, it doesn't mean I won't bet an over in the first round, but you really got to be careful because you got to remember you have 4 days to prep. You watched all that film. You're not comfortable with each other. You know, these small colleges like Troy are now going to be playing in massive NBA arenas. The sight lines are different. The lighting is different. The shooting is different. The intensity is different. So again, unders are the way I look. And if you have a top 3 seeds, the 4-1 seeds, the 4-2 seeds, and the 4-3 seeds, if you blindly bet them as a favorite in round 1 going back to 2015, you are 53-42, 56%. But if you bet a top 3 seed in round 1 with a low total, because if you have a low total, that means your team has an excellent defense or the other team has a poor offense. So round 1, the 4-1 seeds, the 4-2 seeds, the 4-3 seeds, with a total of under 145, they've gone 17-3, 85% the last 3 years.
Woo, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend, but I think I'm looking more forward to next weekend when we talk and break some of this down for the NCAA tournament.
You guys want to go Wednesday or Thursday next week? I'm okay either way.
Let me think. That's a good point.
Just shoot me an email. I'll
shoot you an
email. So you just let me know.
I'm shooting an
email. Need to make sure our viewers know. We'll get plenty of information because your information, your insight, your homework is so compelling. How do people get that on a daily basis when you're not on the air with us, Ralph?
Well, at Cal Sports LV on Twitter. I don't sell anything. I don't give a lot of opinions out. I just basically share gambling information, charts and trends and situations. And again, remember this, guys. Those trends are great. But even with an 85% angle, you're not blindly going to go and bet those plays. You know, there are situations where maybe it's a 50-50, but it still should be no more than a third. A third trends and angles, a third situations, a third matchups, you know, or if you want to add injuries and go in a quarter. So even with some of these wild numbers, do that. And, you know, at Wager Talk, I load free plays every day. You go to WT.buzz/RM. I have a conference tournament guide up there, but by Selection Sunday, I will have a March Madness guide for free with at least 20 betting angles that apply only to March Madness. So make sure you head to my webpage this week on Sunday or Monday, or we'll talk about it next week on the show. But by the time I'm on next week, it'll be loaded and ready for everyone to download.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Ralph, let's pencil in Wednesday. I'll get back with you, but let's kind of be thinking about that for next week.
You got it. We'll give the guys a day to play catch up because, you know, if we're on Thursday next week, we're only giving them 2.5 hours to bet some of those early games. So
there you
have to give them 26.5 hours to bet them.
I love it. Thank you, Ralph. Sounds fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Have a great week, my friend. Good stuff. Ralph Michaels, Wager Talk, and the Gold Sheet. He'll join us again next week. Looking forward to that. All right, Barry, when we get back, he has arisen.
Uh-oh.
Robbie is up with his comments and statements. Also, Dennis Mitchell with some possible future coaching hires that he's known for. We'll get to that. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel. I think we might have time for that as we wrap things up. I'm live at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, where Price sells cars.
I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
This isn't going to work. No matter what we say, some people still drive drunk. But we're Budweiser. Giving a damn is what we do. So, if you think it's okay to drive drunk, if you think it's something that's debatable, or you just simply don't care, this Bud is not for you. Give a damn. Don't drive drunk. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Okay, Markdown Madness is underway here at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Look, don't question me, folks. I'm getting the texts. I'm getting the chats.
He means what he's saying here.
Yes, $21,000 off, $21K or 1.9% financing for 72 months on 2025 Ram Laramie pickups. Ram 1500 Laramie pickups. $21,000 off or 1.9% APR for 72 months. You can also get it at $17,000 off or 3.9% APR. It's up to you. Also, great deals on the 2500 and 3500 Ram pickups at $14K off. This is Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer. Why? Because Price sells Ram trucks. They've got so many on the lot for you to choose from, not just 4 or 5 they're trying to move, but the entire stock here at Styers in the front of the dealership, on the sides, and the rear. Drive around, look for yourself. And, of course, the Jeep lineup, Barry, a Jeep Grand Cherokee or a Jeep Wrangler Sierra, your choice. They're both at $17,000 off.
Can hardly believe it, but every word is true. Go on out and check it out. Let them know, hey, I've been hearing Longshore and McKnight talk about these incredible deals over at Styers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I'm from Missouri. You're going to have to show me. They said, well, let's go ahead and start. I will show you every one of them. Robbie still, he is still on Alabama, #1 seed. Goodness, I love his consistency. Robbie from Greenville says Alabama is favored, but it's hard to beat a good team 3 times in the same year. Oklahoma's lack of size in the paint hurt versus Kentucky. He says Alabama can get a #1 seed for the NCAA tournament with a couple of wins in Nashville and a Florida loss. Tennessee losing to Texas could help too. Robbie also, he brings up momentum. I'm a big believer in momentum. Florida won the SEC tournament in 2006, 2007, won the national titles. Connecticut did the same thing in the Big East last year, winning the national title. Robbie, every show that you chat on, you bring up Connecticut won the Big East tournament last year, winning the national title. Big East tournament didn't mean squat. You know why Connecticut won the national championship after winning the Big East tournament? It wasn't because they said, wow, we just won the Big East tournament. Think of the possibilities now. No, because Connecticut was better than everybody else. Forget momentum. Forget, that Big East tournament. Man, that was really something. That was the springboard to. No, they had great players. That's what won it for them. And Alabama getting a number 1 seed might happen. They need to maybe win the tournament and get some help from, say, somebody beating Duke, which I think is going to happen in the ACC tournament. But don't pin all your hopes on a number 1 seed. Only if you're thinking about that just for pride, we were a number 1 seed. Knock yourself out on that. But that ain't all that important. I'm here.
You don't get bonus points for being a number 1 seed. Maybe just an easier opening day opponent. And Gern, if you could put up the QR code once again so we can just let people see it. And we can show people when we get the tournament bracket challenge started on Monday. You can go to that. You can check it out. It's on Instagram. We'll put it up on the screen for you throughout the week next week. But you can go to yellowhammernews.com. It'll be on their homepage, the icon. Click it, read the instructions, submit what we need submitted, make your choices, hit the enter button. Boom, you're good to go. You'll be able to track your progress throughout the tournament, see where you stack up against your buddies. It's all for that $1,000 travel voucher to get you anywhere, on the planet for that matter. So you got $1,000 in your back pocket to use for air travel. And, of course, that is compliments of the Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. Check them out at iflymontgomery.com. Phoenix Physical Therapy, getting you back in the game is what Phoenix Physical Therapy is all about, with locations throughout the River Region. River Region Straw for all of your pine straw needs, landscaping, making your property look its very best. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. And our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood delivered daily from the Gulf of America.
Yes.
Which I'm told, Barry, that somebody on our chat line tells us if you lose your phone, it's in the Find Me feature, it says Gulf of America is where your phone will be if you lose it on the beach there at Gulf Shores.
Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. Gulf, on Apple, it does say Gulf of America. Right over, not too far from where I am right now in Lafayette.
Thank you, Gern. We can go back to the home screen. Yep. So Barry, if I go to Canada, is it going to say the 51st state?
Not yet.
If I go to Greenland, is it going to say part of the United States? Is that coming? Is that in our future?
I don't know. See what Tubbs had to say about that. Yeah. Well, let's go to quickly. We got a couple of minutes. We can at least knock a couple off of the topic wheel here today.
Yes, Gern,
brought to you by
Victoryland
777 Casinos, where you can be a winner too.
Yes, you can. Oh, I like how they can see us and the wheel. How about that?
That's good.
Barry, I'm thinking a lot of crazy stuff. What was the first vehicle that you had when you were able to drive? What was the first thing you drove?
Well, my older sister, Melanie, who's a year older than I am, she had a Honda Civic, which was a 5-speed stick. Kids, look it up. Those things were great. That's how I learned to drive, was on a stick shift on a Honda Civic. So I rode her car. The car that I took to college way back when, again, my sister and I both went to the same college. We both went to Florida, was a Mazda GLC.
Great little car.
That's why it was called the GLC. It was a banana yellow Mazda GLC. What is a Mazda nowadays? So there's a Mazda. Is there still Mazdas?
Yes, my daughter has a Mazda.
Okay. GLC, great little car. Rode that thing to pieces back in college.
Yeah.
All those trips to Daytona, all those trips to Cedar Key.
But was it a convertible?
No convertible.
I can see you in a rag top.
Well, that was the problem. When I'm driving that thing, you had to have, and I'm 6'4". When you're driving that Mazda GLC, you had to have the seat so far back. If I'm looking to my left, I'm looking out the rear window.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that was an
issue. My first vehicle, Barry, and I still wish I had it today, was a 1978 Chevy Blazer. That's back when they made the big Blazer. I'm talking, back in the late 70s. It had a console in between the two seats. I mean, you could stuff somebody in it. It was so big. As a matter of fact, you could get a 12-pack of beer in there. Anyway,
just as a point of contrast, just to kind of let you know, that's an illustration.
Yes,
not an
true.
actual
But
occurrence.
I love that vehicle. It was just awesome. It was a gas guzzler.
Oh yeah,
You could see the gas needle moving as you drove.
Especially uphill, and it went.
But I mean, gas
was that the
wasn't like
same one where they stuffed a bunch of crickets into your air conditioning
that
duct in
wasn't
college?
me. Somebody did that to somebody else. That was in an Olds Delta 98. A friend of mine had an Olds Delta 98 that his father gave him. He drove it to school.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it was like that car on Animal House that they drove to the Food King. I mean, it was a sedan. I mean, it was a big car.
My brother's going to kill me. You bleeped up. You trusted us.
I had never heard of a stunt, a trick. I mean, it was kind of mean now that you think about it, of going into the bait shop and buying a bunch of crickets, putting them in this guy's car as a prank.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's hell getting them out of there. The problem is they got into the air conditioning ducts. So on the first hot day when he turned the AC on, all these crickets came out of the AC vents that he didn't get out when he was cleaning it up the first time. So, I missed that Blazer. I wish I still had it. Man, it was so good.
You can make memories for the young person in your life. They could, years from now, they could be talking about, man, I had me a Bighorn. Oh, when my dad got it for me. Oh, man, I loved that vehicle. Go ahead and make those memories happen right now at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
You're exactly right, Barry. Come by and see our friends here. Markdown Madness at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Prattville. Come by and see them. They have vehicles all over the lot for you to check out at tremendous savings. Nobody's going to beat the deals here at Styers. Come see our friends, and they'll take care of you. I promise you that. Okay, Monday is going to be a big day because the bracket challenge will be up and running. Your chance to get in on that. We'll tell you all about that next week. We'll talk about the tournaments over the weekend. We'll look ahead to the NCAA tournament as well. So, Barry, next week's going to be big. I know it's going to be big for you because I know you're going to be traveling.
Yep. Next week, I don't know where I'm going to be. You know, Jerry Palm says Milwaukee, so who knows? But next week, I'll be in my home studio. John will be ready along with me to go over the NCAA tournament bracket. Our thanks to Bill Bubba Bussey for joining us, Ralph Michaels from Wager Talk and the Gold Sheet, everybody at Styers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram on Cobbsford Road in Prattville, our producer, Gurn Jr. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.